All right. According to a study by astronomers in 2002, they found that the light coming from galaxies averaged into a beige color that is very similar to white. So it's not an American problem, it's a universe problem.
That's racist.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Which, by the way, is called Cosmic Latte.
Yeah, cosmic latte.
That just happened to
Okay. Oh, they even give you a hex code to figure out what this color is. Okay, let me look at this hex code here.
That sounds like one of those seasonal drinks at Starbucks.
Yep.
Cosmic Latte.
I'll have a venti cosmic latte, please, with extra wheatgrass.
So, how about we? No, maybe not. Ah, fuck it. How about we talk about? I was gonna say
You're
the
like,
government.
I don't know if
but
we
I
should
was
do this or not.
I was like,
Fuck that. Fuck the ATF.
I'm thinking about somebody that I like and I don't want to screw him.
Mom?
Oh, Mike is just my screen name. My real name is Robert. Robert Paulson.
What's the first rule?
Listen, we're streaming. You don't talk about it.
Candace put FTATF in the comments over here.
100%. Represent that short.
I'm sorry, Miss Warhorse.
You've taught her very well. Yeah, we don't use government names here. What's wrong with you? Jesus.
I do.
That's your own problem.
My government name's not Mike.
I just almost spit water all over my fucking laptop.
This is Jorge, the Volkswagen mechanic.
You're pointing
Jorge.
away from him.
I'm pointing away?
Yeah, your camera's reversed.
Now I can't be wrong.
Are you sure you weren't a lieutenant?
Look, land nav was not that fucking hard, okay? 14 hours just turned into 26 fairly quickly.
It is hard if people call you sir.
I still think that the video that's on YouTube of the officer getting pissed off during land nav, and he's fucking screaming at his guys to stop getting pizza delivered. The fucking pizza delivery guy could find him, but the lieutenant couldn't.
That's got Lance Corporal Underground written all over it.
It's only funny because it's true.
Yep.
So for those of you that are viewing that haven't met us, we are veterans, and we don't fucking care.
Hey, Seth, you want to talk about Ruby Ridge and why it was a failure?
Ooh. Ooh. I don't know if I got enough phone battery for that one.
I mean, hey, fuck it, man. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
Ruby Ridge was an absolute fucking disaster and spun into motion one of the absolute worst standing government organizations on the fucking planet.
Can you explain?
In a nutshell.
No, we don't want the nutshell. We want the whole thing,
Expand.
everybody. Come on, help us out here.
All right. So with Ruby Ridge, the term entrapment took a whole new fucking leg of its own, and tried to hem a dude up. Essentially, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Because I don't want. I know how these fucking things work. Let's go ahead. Let's get dates. Let's get names. Yada 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 yada.
Do you like the purple headphones, by the way?
Ruby Ridge was the site of a siege of a cabin occupied by the Weaver family in Boundary County, Idaho. In August 1992, on August 21st, deputies of the United States Marshal Service came to arrest Randy Weaver under a bench warrant after his failure to appear on federal firearms charges. Now, let's hold on right there because the actual um, information, the truthful information was he was not served any kind of papers to show up for court. He had not received anything whatsoever. So they said that he had a failure to appear to a court that he did not know he had to be at. So there's your first falsification. But that kicked into motion a surveillance operation where the dog alerted to two positions or two officers that were positioned on an adjacent hill across from Weaver's property. At that point in time, the dog alerted to them. They were staking out, trying to figure out the comings and goings and trying to gather as much intel as they possibly could. The family dog alerted to them, which Weaver's son, I believe his eldest son, was with the dog, just walking around the property. And as soon as the dog alerted to him, they proceed to open fire. They take out the dog. They take out his son.
Yeah, if I remember the story right, the dog actually alerted and started barking at him
Mm-hmm.
and gave up their position.
Yep. And they made the judgment call to immediately engage, which is absolute assery.
Well, considering they were trespassing,
Yes,
they
absolutely.
were they were
Just like with
federal agents.
any other property owner, you would have
Yes.
if you had two random dudes sitting in the wood line with weapons, you assume they're up to no good, and you have the right to defend yourself, especially if they have not identified themselves. So there was an exchange of fire. Dog was dead. Son's dead. That obviously alerted the rest of the family, and the rest is pretty much exactly how you think it would go. Um, it was a back and forth of multiple agencies showing up. I believe his wife was shot and killed inside the house while they were trying to take a shot in the doorway at Randy, um, who was holding their youngest child in her arms. So completely removed her face, and it ended up stalemating, and he was acquitted after everything was said and done. An exhaustive amount of resources and federal money, taxpayer money, to essentially murder this man's family over the alleged original case was he cut 2 extra inches off of a shotgun for a buddy who just so happened to be an undercover. Thus, you have the ATF was labeled as the government hitman of the assery that is the U.S. government. They can make up rules as they fucking go, and essentially do whatever the fuck they want.
Do you remember how long Ruby Ridge, the whole thing transpired?
Mm, that I'm not sure of. Let's see if I can.
I just brought it up. It's 11 days.
11 days. I knew it
11
was.
days.
I knew it was around the week mark. I did not realize it was that long.
Yeah, and they brought in helicopters, tanks.
Yep.
They brought in full brigades, set up camp across the ridgeline from them in a field. Right? It was a full on assault.
Yep.
It was not just a no knock warrant. They
Um,
they it was a complete travesty.
yep.
If they were to do that to my house, I think I would do the same. Right? You have
Yep.
nothing. There are no there's no suspicion of anything. You show up, you kill my dog, and shoot my son. Um,
It's war.
you've you've started some really big shit.
Yep.
And that's not the first time they've done it, right? Or no, that is the first time. That's not the only time they've done it. They've which could be a whole lot longer conversation. Was Waco,
Hmm.
right? And they did the same thing, and they got the information from a FedEx or UPS guy that had dropped a dummy grenade out of one of the packages, and they went off of just what he saw, not knowing what it was, and they put together a team. Seth, do you remember what was happening with the ATF at the time?
So the ATF was under scrutiny for the Ruby Ridge event, and they were actually in the process of being decommissioned. So it came at
Yeah,
a very, very strategic time where they needed to have an absolute win.
yeah.
Fuck, did they
But
regret that one?
yeah, and I'm with you. There's the guy that was there from the Branch Davidians, David Koresh.
Yep.
He was an atrocious guy. He did
Hmm.
some really bad things, but the way that they got there was completely illegal, and they had again no just cause.
Hmm.
Um, and then when they there's a whole debate, right? If they killed the dogs before, if like there's a whole history thing going there that if you went down a couple different rabbit holes, it would say three different things. Um, and they tried to do the same thing, but the Branch Davidians were like, nope, you're not coming in here.
Hmm.
And they said,
Which
yes, we
they
are.
were well within their rights to do so.
Absolutely. 100%. Do you remember um, what transpired first? How the whole thing kicked off into what it was at Waco?
So, if I remember correctly, they had shown up to verify information um, concerning the firearms and the dummy grenades and everything else that were said to have been inside the compound itself. Um, and they sent two agents, essentially just knocked on the front door, said, "Hey, this is why we're here." And parts of the reports that they failed to mention to everybody was David Koresh absolutely invited them in and showed them everything. Had nothing to hide. Showed them everything that was going on. They confirmed the intel that they had um, to be falsified, but it in turn opened them up to a bigger investigation because what they found in there was fully automatic machine guns, or at least the parts to create a fully automatic machine gun. Um,
Which has been deemed, if it's not actually in a firearm, then you don't have an NFA item,
right.
right?
Um,
So I can purchase a full auto drop-in trigger, as long
mhm,
as I don't put it in a firearm.
Correct.
It is not a full auto firearm, and it is not an NFA item.
Yep.
So-
So since the new information that they gathered while they were on site, they took that back and decided to just double down on stupidity.
I don't think they doubled down. I think they quadruple down.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that turned into the biggest standoff in and the biggest mass casualty event that the U.S. has seen concerning the ATF. So 51 days they were on a standoff. 51 days, which it ended, and there are conflicting stories and conflicting evidence. But 82 Branch Davidians, 28 of whom were children, all perished and burned alive inside that compound due to the act of the HRT teams sent in by ATF.
What is HRT?
That was so the HRT was the I don't want to butcher it because I can't remember. It's the
It's
high risk something.
response team.
Yeah, there you go.
And if there's a theory out there, I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but when they cut his power, right? They cut the power to the house.
Mm-hmm.
He lit up a generator, plugged in a speaker, and sang a song, played some music with his guitar, got up on a roof and said, "Fuck you, you're not coming in here," basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
by no stretch of the imagination was David Koresh a decent human being.
no,
He was a womanizer. He was, for all intents and purposes, the evidence shows that he was more than likely a fucking child molester.
yes,
And that makes him an absolute garbage human being and a piece of shit. But it still does not negate the constitutional rights of an American citizen.
right. No matter. So I have family that has actually got off on drug charges because the cops violated their Fourth Amendment right? Illegal
Mm-hmm.
search and seizure. So if the evidence that you obtain illegally, the evidence is not admissible in court. And that's basically what happened at Ruby Ridge and Waco.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by the end of it, the survivors actually went to court, and they were deemed innocent, and the government had to pay them for their losses. And there was somebody there that was recently out of the army and was watching the whole thing. Do you remember who that was?
Timothy McVeigh.
All right. And what is Timothy McVeigh famous for?
Murrah Building bombing, Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. And they are saying that the direct correlation to the Oklahoma City bombing, which is a federal building that housed the ATF, that the direct correlation is that he was there, and he was in Desert Shield.
I believe so.
And he then was like, "What the hell am I fighting for? What did I fight for?" And he felt that their rights were violated, and there was only one way to try and stop it. Unfortunately, there were children in the daycare, and most of the ATF wasn't even there.
Mm-hmm. And again, like with everything else, there's conflicting evidence and conflicting reports as to the actual incident of the bombing, the individuals involved, the intended targets. Now, it was painted as a retaliatory attack for Waco, because they're saying that the intended target was the ATF, of whom 95% were not in the office that day.
Correct.
Take that information for what you will. But yes, lots of innocent civilians did lose their lives. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that, trying to martyr somebody like Timothy McVeigh, like he was doing the right thing or this or that. But these things have a snowball effect, right? Government overreach has a snowball effect for the people who have the capability of thinking for themselves.
Yeah. Ted Gunderson. I don't know if I've heard that name. Ted Gunderson said it was a government operation.
Yep. And that's kind of what I was talking about as far as conflicting evidence and conflicting stories, personnel that were involved. There was supposedly a second, and I've reviewed footage of a second man inside the that U-Haul van, or the Penske van, the Penske truck, of which nobody found any more evidence of. Magically disappeared, yada yada yada, and you could go down that rabbit hole for for hours talking about the what ifs and was it a planned internal attack, just to help push a narrative. But at this point, just over the three incidences that we've talked about with Ruby Ridge, with Waco, and with the Murrah building bombing, it's not out of the realm of possibility, I would say, as to inside manufactured type event, right?
Right. No. I absolutely agree with that. We have evidence that the government does that kind of thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if wow, somebody dropped a YouTube link. I'll check that out. But the government has practiced this for so long that they do it in other countries, right? They go into other countries, they manufacture shit, and then they cause the infrastructure to fall from within. You divide, and
So Ted Gunderson was one of the main people behind the satanic panic of the 1980s, right? With the McMartin preschool case. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So in the 80s, right, there's all of the people that were trying to point at like heavy metal, rock and roll, all of that, right? Trying to point specifically to music and culture as to what's causing all of the problems in society, right?
Okay,
And
he
they
was
started
that
blaming
Metallica headhunter.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So really, it and what he's saying is head of the CIA, Los Angeles branch. So it just ties in more, right? Everything just kind of comes together. And did you pull that up, Alvin, and actually look at it? Look up who Ted Gunderson was, or did you know?
No, I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, and we'll do more research to see that as well, right? That's just the facts and when shit can tie together. But oh, there you go. Let's see.
So I don't know if you can see it or not. Well, I might have to hook up my second monitor, but after retiring from the FBI, Gunderson set up a private investigation firm. Scrolling down a little bit, going back up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little harder to see. Let's see. Oh, there we go. We can see it whenever I put it on my vertical screen. I'm trying to scroll through the article like I can control it.
Go get a towel. No! No!
But you know, we will find all kinds of stuff, and this is one of the reasons that we at least me I'm gonna say me believe that the ATF should be fucking dismantled. They just overreach is atrocious. They are actively trying to remove our Second Amendment rights. Actively.
Yep.
They are enforcing policy, not law. Right? With everything that the ATF has is policy. The only law that was enacted was that basically they have fucking sweeping powers. And that's unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we going to follow? Are we going to follow the Constitution, or are we going to follow the ATF? We got a little bit of an echo.
No, it's not.
So it's probably me.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Apparently, I'm a hot commodity this afternoon with the phone calls.
It's open.
But no, one of the things that I do want to point out, because you can see it, and I wish I had it pulled up now, but you can see it even through Wikipedia, right? So a lot of these older events, and I'm looking up just Timothy McVeigh on its own. Some of these trigger words, right? A Gulf War veteran, McVeigh became radicalized by anti-government beliefs, and he sought revenge against the United States federal government for the 1993 Waco siege, as well as the 1992 Ruby Ridge incident. So there's trigger words here that you're seeing in present day, right? The radicalized anti-government beliefs. I'm sorry, have you taken a history class? That's what Americans are. That's what we do. That's what we're known around the world for, is fuck around and find out, and being able to hold our government accountable for stuff. Now, can I say that's been the epitome of our existence in the last, I don't know, 70 years? Absolutely not. But it's a part of who we are, right? It's a part of who we are as a nation, as a people. And those trigger words that they're constantly using, and I wish I could, Alvin, if you could try to find that. The ATF put out, I'm sorry, no, it was the Department of Homeland Security put out a new information sheet on people ratting their neighbors out, what to look for in extremist ideologies and domestic terrorism, people taking pride in their country, flying the American flag. Flying the American flag is a sign of domestic terrorism. Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm a domestic terrorist because I have Molan Labe tattooed on my arm.
Yeah, exactly. And they went as far as saying, oh, well, they could have these tattoos. They tried to say, so domestic terrorism and white supremacy, right?
Yep.
Anything to do with an American flag tattoo, or flying American flags, or having a pride in your nation,
Start cleaning up the living room.
are all these trigger points for these so-called radicals. So according to the Department of Homeland Security, I'm a domestic terrorist because of the things that I believe, because I believe in our Constitution and I believe our government should be held accountable. And I'm okay with that.
So, when you started your company, Warhorse Ordnance, I know that it's a lot based around the fact that you love tactical gear, you love competing, and you believe that you could build a better product. And from what I've seen, you can, right? We've tested it. You have R&D, you have pro staff that does that. But your main goal is to everybody, right? Your main goal is to equip everybody.
Right.
That way, if the government continues to be tyrannical, then they will be well equipped, right?
Correct. Well, and again, let's not kid ourselves here. And I know it's been spoke about a million times, especially in the Congress floor, in the House floor. The Second Amendment was not written for hunting. It is not about deer. The Second Amendment was to for the American people to have the ability and to be able to tit for tat, for layman's terms, tit for tat. When it comes to our government, we have the ability, nay, we have the duty to overthrow our government when it becomes too far gone, too tyrannical. That is our obligation. That is our duty. That's what the Second Amendment was written for. It's not about hunting and providing for your family. So,
well, and if I remember right, when you, me, and Alvin swore into our military, we took an oath.
Yep.
And the oath says that we will defend our Constitution against foreign enemies and domestic.
And domestic.
And domestic.
To uphold the Constitution.
Correct. And I believe that my oath never ended.
Right.